Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're gonna be doing probably the most searched for, most sought after rising sign of them all, the elusive, the mysterious, the sexy rising Scorpio. So I'm gonna make another video as to why people are so obsessed with Scorpios. I have a lot of theories, but in today's video, we're gonna talk about rising Scorpio. First, I'm gonna give you some background as to what the rising sign is, what it means when it is in the sign of Scorpio. Then I'm gonna go and give you a little bit of information on the descendant, so the relationship needs for a rising Scorpio. And lastly, I'm going to give you a celebrity example of what rising Scorpio could look like in the media. And one big clue is that rising Scorpio celebrities are really private, so there's not gonna be much to talk about, but I'm gonna try. So let's get into it, guys. So all the interactions that you had as a child, when you were a little tiny baby and you were becoming who you are now, all of those experiences that shaped you, those are the things that really brought together your ascendant. And all of those experiences shaped you. And the ascendant becomes kind of like this little spacesuit that is supposed to help you survive in your new environment. And for you, that new environment was the world, your new life here on this planet. So all the people that were around you, it's as if they were adding little bits and pieces to that ascendant sign. And the things that you were going to need were added to that ascendant sign so that you could do your best, so that you could thrive in this new environment. And all the things that you left behind in the 12th house get left behind for a very specific reason. So let's talk about the things that you left behind in the 12th house. So what you left behind in the 12th house is essentially the lightness of Libra. This becomes tricky if you have any planets in the 12th house, but I'm going to be making another video specifically addressing 12th house planets and how that plays out. So essentially what you left in the 12th house is the lightness of Libra. So you come into this planet and into your life, and for whatever reason, the gods, God, Jesus, whoever it is that you think brought you into this planet, your parents, they thought that you could not survive in your environment with the very gentle lightness of Libra. And they were like, you need Scorpio intensity, you need Scorpio strength. And that's not to say that Libra isn't a strong sign, but it's not necessarily associated with that, and Scorpio really is. So Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto. I probably should have said that at the beginning. It's ruled by Mars and Pluto. Traditionally, it's ruled by Mars before Pluto was discovered. And Mars is the planet of passion and action. And Pluto is the planet of intensity and depth. So put those things together and you get Scorpio. So what else did you leave behind in the 12th house? You also left behind balance. You left behind balance in the 12th house because Libra is that sign that really wants equanimity and balance in all things. And Scorpio is not a balanced sign. Scorpio is all about intensity and doing something so much that it becomes overdone. That is the Scorpio way, and there's no other way about it. You also left behind in the 12th house polite social conversations. You know how Libra people are very good at like chit chat and mingling here and there and knowing just the right thing to say that is just surface enough to make you seem pleasant? Scorpio doesn't know how to do that. Rising Scorpio does not know how to do that. So rising Scorpio people, they don't know how to socialize in a polite, pleasant way unless they have planets that affect this. But generally, Scorpio doesn't want to do that anyway because they just go around assessing people and they know who they want to befriend anyway. And they don't want to talk about how the weather is or what you had for lunch. They really want to talk about your childhood trauma and how you became the person that you are. That's all Scorpio really is interested in. So there's that. You also left behind impartiality. So being unbiased, you left that behind in the 12th house. That's a Libra thing. In this life, you're really here to be passionate about things and to be single-mindedly passionate about things. So Scorpio takes a very passionate approach to their opinions. They have very strong opinions about things, and they come to those opinions based on their very long and drawn out process of assessing people and ideas and situations. You also traded being nice for being authentic. So Libra is a sign that is known for being nice, and niceness is necessary. It's a necessary trait that's why it's one of the 12 signs, right? But Scorpio leaves niceness behind and really is more concerned with being authentic, being their true self, and really letting their desires be known. Well, not known because they're very private. But if they don't like you, they don't like you, and they're just not going to fake it. Lastly, they left behind being lighthearted for being deep. Libra in the 12th house, being the lighthearted sign. And Scorpio is not lighthearted. They're very deep. So when you're in your room and you're comfortable, that's when you're being your moon. That's your moon self. That's your comfort zone. If you haven't watched that video, I suggest you watch it. So your comfort zone is whatever you're doing whenever nobody's watching and when you're just being like a lazy bag of potato chips. That is your comfort zone. But as soon as somebody walks into the room, somebody that you don't know especially walks into the room, you're going to straighten up and you're going to put on that ascendant. So what does Scorpio put on when they put on that ascendant? What are the social personality traits that they have? So Scorpio is observant, as I said. They really are trying to take people in and to see who is going to be powerful in the room, who is good and who is bad. Scorpio is very much like that. And they don't do it in a form of judgment. It's more in the sense of who is trying to hurt me, who's trying to hurt other people, who's trying to do something sneaky. They're always investigating everyone. And they categorize people as like good, bad, and not, like I said, it's not in a judgmental way. It's not like, oh, you're a bad person, you're going to the pits of hell. It's more like, oh, you're a dubious little person. I'm going to be careful with you. I'm not going to trust you. They're always assessing who they could trust. They're also going to be very reserved. They're very protective of their feelings because they're protecting something very fragile, something very, it's hurtable. Scorpio people are very sensitive because they are prone to being deeply hurt. So because it's kind of like Cancer, you know, because of that, they have a tendency to shut themselves off and be very reserved. The less that they let people in, the less frequently that they end up getting hurt, and that is good for them. And lastly, Scorpio is very protective. They're as goes along with the previous thing, but they're protective of themselves and of the people that they love. They're always on guard. That is how you can think of the Scorpio ascendant. So your little spacesuit, your ascendant, also has a filter. And this filter is the lens through which you see the world. You look out at the world from the first house. And from the seventh house, the house of the others, the world looks back at you. And I like to say that all of the signs have a different filter. And for Scorpio, the filter is a little bit dark, gloomy, and somber. It is like darkly romantic because Scorpio likes to see the dark things in life and find beauty in them. And that is just the way that they navigate the world. Scorpio looks for the ugliness in the world and finds beauty. But the caveat there is that because you're looking through that dark filter, Scorpio, you are going to find darker things in life. And you are going to be surrounded by heavier energy because it's kind of like that like attracts like. You are looking for that, or no, not like attracts like. It's like confirmation bias sort of thing, because you believe that there is darkness and pain in the world, so you are going to see that. And I also like to think that Scorpio rising's lens is equipped with spy gear because they are the ultimate spies of the zodiac. Because remember that the ascendant sign is your behavior. It's the way that you see the world. And if you're seeing the world from a Scorpio lens, you're going to be the ultimate detective. This is just natural to you. You're going to be inquisitive and you are going to be really good at researching. You notice things energetically and physically that other people wouldn't notice. So your research goes further than Pisces in the sense that you know people's vibe and intentions. Whereas Cancer, when they are assessing, rising Cancer is very in tune to the environment because they want to meet anyone else's needs who's suffering, or if there's somebody who's in trouble or who needs something, Cancer wants to meet those needs. Pisces is more like raw and they're just like taking in everyone's feelings and they're just like, oh, overwhelmed. But Scorpio is taking in everyone's energy and really assessing it and being like, this person wants this for that reason. I know. This person's sitting there for this reason. This person walked in late because of this. They're always assessing everyone's energy because, again, they're trying to see where they're going to fall on the what is it called? They're trying to assess everyone's energy to see how powerful, how vulnerable everyone is. Scorpio rising, I like to call them the true lie detector. So how you perceive the world through that filtered lens, Scorpio, is as a dangerous place, and not as Capricorn would, because Capricorn also sees the world as a dangerous place, but Capricorn is more concerned with their material safety. So like, oh, like it's dangerous, I'm gonna lose my house, oh my god, I'm gonna lose my job, oh my god, I'm gonna get sick and die. That is more of a, well, even though Scorpio does think about death a lot, but that is more of a Capricorn, physical things. Scorpio is thinking about feelings, like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be so hurt that I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to be crushed. My spirit is going to be crushed. That is more what Scorpio's concerned with. They're concerned with emotional instability. That is really what they're trying to prevent. And remember that your ascendant is also modified by any planets that are in your first house. So keep that in mind if this doesn't ring true for you. And also any harsh aspects or any aspects generally made to your ascendant are also going to modify your ascendant. Remember that to assess a chart, you can't look at one specific thing. You really have to put it all together and see how it all plays out. So now let's talk about the descendant. So the descendant really is that 7th house, and that 7th house represents the house of other. So others really are the people that you are in relationship with. And it also shows you the kind of things that you need in a relationship, because those are the things that you don't get to embody yourself, and you're just like, oh, that's other people do that, I don't do that. That is the descendant, how the descendant works, as opposed to the ascendant. The ascendant is me, I behave this way. The descendant is other people behave that way. And you kind of tend to be like, oh, I don't like that kind of behavior, but you secretly need it because it is in your 7th house. So for Scorpio, their descendant is going to be Taurus. So Scorpio likes emotional intensity, right? So they're not concerned with like material possessions. They're not concerned with material safety. That's not a Scorpio thing. But in relationships, that is what they need. They need a stable foundation. They need Taurus. They need a stable foundation for everything to be calm, because the way that they're interacting in everyday life does bring about emotional upheaval and discomfort. So it would make sense that in relationships, they really need that stable bull to keep them, you know, on solid ground. Another reason why they need that Taurus descendant is because Scorpio really sometimes gets involved in situations that put them in a total crisis mode, and they lose it for a little bit, because they're going through emotional turmoil and just instability, emotional instability. Think of like the Tower card. Scorpio rising people can get into Tower card situations because their whole purpose in life, they're here to live intensely. And if you're living intensely, this is reminding me of Carrie from Homeland. You should watch that show if you're a Scorpio. Total Scorpio love. So if you are living very intensely, sometimes you're gonna get into trouble, and maybe you're not gonna be able to pay your bills. So if you're living intensely, you might not be able to meet your daily needs. So if you have a partner, 7th house, that keeps your daily needs stable and really is making sure that you have a home, that you have food, that you have a bed to sleep on, that you have clothes, then that person is going to take care of that. That's not to say that Scorpio is financially irresponsible. They absolutely are not. Scorpio is really good with money, and they're very much concerned with partner finances. So they're good with money, but in case they ever get into some dark emotional turmoil, it's really good to have that partner to really hold them down and keep them grounded. So now we're going to be looking at the celebrity example, which is Lana Del Rey. I'm going to pop up her chart so you can see what we're working with. So she is a rising Scorpio, and she has a lot of water energy. She has all that stuff going on in Cancer, although it's debatable apparently that she's born at 0 degrees Cancer sun, and my friend really argues that she's actually a Gemini. I really don't know her enough to say that, but don't tell my friend. I hope she doesn't watch this video because she'll be very offended. I just don't know her that well, but she really knows her very well. And oh, shout out to her channel. You should subscribe to it. It's called Midnight Zero Astrology. She's wonderful. The reason why I chose her is really because I happened to click on a video of like the latest Grammys, I think it was the Grammys, and she was there, and they're just like, oh, tell us about your dress. What are you wearing? And she's like, oh, I actually just got it at the mall. And she was so like, not shy in a Cancer way, because the way that Cancer is shy is they're like shy, but they're like also like batting their eyelashes at you. That's more Cancer. And Scorpio is straight up like, stay away from me, like. And that was definitely the vibe that I got from her. And I was just like, it makes so much sense, because the way that your ascendant works is for Scorpio, it is kind of like a cloak of invisibility because they do not want to be seen. So whenever you have a celebrity who's a rising Scorpio or a Scorpio midheaven, they're going to have privacy issues. And if you notice, there really isn't a lot to know about Lana Del Rey. Like, I don't really know what else to say, just other than she's a really private person. And if you want to take it a step further and really analyze her body of work, I think altogether she does write about things that are Cancerian in nature. She writes a lot about love and emotional relationships and really intense things. And I think it is the intensity of her lyrics that show her rising Scorpio ways. But I think altogether it is just the fact that she is very private shows you a lot of her Scorpio rising traits. And what I find very interesting is that she's a celebrity, and usually celebrities have a lot out there about them. But think about it, if you're rising Scorpio, you know you wouldn't want people knowing stuff about you. And it must be very difficult to have a Scorpio midheaven or a Scorpio rising and be like an artist or somebody who wants to put work out there into the world. I'm sure it is quite difficult because you don't want people digging into your life. Another thing about Lana Del Rey that I think really embodies that Scorpio rising spirit, where I probably didn't even mention this at all, but Scorpio is associated with transformation. It is the sign of transformation. And she is a celebrity that has really transformed over the years and really like night and day. And I know that a lot of celebrities have done this, like Lady Gaga was like very unrecognizable before when she was younger, when she first came out to now. But I think the way that Lana transformed really reinvented her whole identity in a way that was new and that people really resonated with. So Scorpio rising is going to have that ability to regenerate and to come back from the ashes whenever they are entirely broken down. Scorpio rising is also another sign, another placement that is really able to make something beautiful out of their destruction. Because remember, the first house, the ascendant, is your physical body, your physical appearance, your personality. And if it is in that transformative sign of Scorpio, then you really have that ability to come back from just annihilation and put yourself back together in a totally different way, coming back with way more strength and be totally fine. And I think that she really embodies that. If you have any lyrics from her music that you think really embody this rising Scorpio way of being, please put them in the comments. I'm very curious. I'm sorry that I didn't do more research. I just assumed I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna say Lana Del Rey and everyone's gonna be like, oh, Lana Del Rey, because people really love her. So I figured that was enough. Probably isn't, but these videos end up being really long anyway. So that's the video for today, guys. If you liked it, make sure you give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. I put out videos on astrology every single weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.